Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all having a great day and that you are all doing well. To start things off, cryptocurrencies are unlikely to become an international monetary phenomenon in the coming years. This was said by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York in a research piece on US dollar supremacy published on the 11th of February. The New York Fed argued that despite the appearance of cryptocurrency in mainstream society, only its long-term perspectives could include significant usage. They said cryptocurrencies set up to challenge the conventional structure of payments in official currencies. Thus far are unlikely to meet criteria for international roles in the near to medium term. It commented, "The opinion is nothing new. As Bitcoin is reported, U.S. finance continues to downplay to possible disruptive aspects of cryptocurrency. In April last year, the San Francisco Fed argued Bitcoin lacked the characteristics which would allow it to become a currency altogether. Echoing similar sentiments by banking structures worldwide, they say cryptocurrencies don't pass the basic test of what a currency should be." This was said by the Fed's chief, John Williams, at that time. Such bearish conclusions increasingly contrast with global business. Just this week, Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey reiterated his belief that Bitcoin would become a global currency of the internet, having previously given a time frame of just 10 years for this to occur. I actually think it's going to take around 5 to 6 years. I think we are a lot quicker and farther along than a lot of other people are realizing. You may realize it out there, everyone listening or watching right now, because you have been in this space for maybe even a couple of months. You should really understand exactly the structure that's being built around all of this. There's something whenever in 2018, whenever in 2017, 2016, 2015, whenever a bank came forward and they were like, yeah, crypto's not going anywhere, crypto's crap, crypto's only used for criminals, crypto's only used for people who deal illegal substances on the internet, they kept on coming forward so often that I remember sitting there at one point and I was like, wow, maybe I shouldn't be into cryptocurrency. Like maybe something is actually wrong with it. And you realize they're spending so much time and so much effort and so much money essentially going on television to get people to talk about how horrible cryptocurrencies are. And then you wonder, why would they spend so much time and effort talking about something that doesn't matter to them, that's not gonna question their supremacy or their place in the market or stop them being where they are. Like, you know, if something doesn't matter to you, you don't talk about it. You kind of breeze over it. It's nothing that really ruffles your feathers, if you can kind of say that. So the fact that we've had multiple Federal Reserves and multiple states in the United States constantly coming forward talking about that crypto isn't a problem, crypto's not going anywhere. It's also interesting to note the wording of it. They said the near to medium term, which indicates to me that's around a 2 to 5, 6, 7 year period. So what about the long term? What did they conclude that cryptocurrencies are going to be able to do in the long term? Because we've seen multiple times before, and we've seen, I have seen, and I've tried to pass the news on to you, that when it comes down to the network effect and how many people have been getting into cryptocurrencies every single day on a daily basis, the more people that find out about it, the more people that end up buying fragments of Bitcoin or fragments of any other cryptocurrency. The idea is that when you hold a little, eventually you kind of want to hold a lot, because you come to the realization, not financial advice, if you hold 0.01 of a Bitcoin and the price doubles, you're like, oh my gosh, if I had only had 0.10 of a Bitcoin, why, I could have had this much more money. And then you slowly get into this situation where more people are into it. More people start buying more and more because they want the profits that are coming from it. But then we also have the situation where we've had other banks who haven't been as shady or backhanded, I could kind of use those words, who've come forward and said that by the time that Bitcoin ends up hitting around $150,000 to $250,000 per coin, it'll actually have the power to usurp many other world currencies. And they mentioned in that same exact statement that the US dollar was of significance in that situation, because Bitcoin would be so large that it would have the opportunity to be able to be used alongside the US dollar. And then you get into the situation, well, what happens, in the long term? What happens if we get a Bitcoin price that's $500,000? What happens to the US dollar then? What happens to the US dollar supremacy? Very interesting to note the wording that they're all using keep paying attention to the fact that they are making these studies, that they're coming out with them publicly, because typically you wouldn't normally, there's so many things that happen behind the scenes that usually happen behind closed doors. It happen between people who are in these little things, in these little groups all by themselves. They talk about this. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to go anywhere. No, we've checked, so-and-so. But they understand exactly where this is going. They understand exactly how big this is trying to be. They're trying to downplay it. We've seen this from many other countries before. Sorry if I'm talking really fast. We've seen this from a number of other countries before. When they were talking about regulation, we're going to ban crypto, we're going to ban so-and-so, wholeheartedly, I believe that they thought we would not have cryptocurrencies in 2019. A large number of them, at least 80% of the countries and corporations and entities, whatever you want to call them, maybe even banks, ignored cryptocurrency for a very long time. 2017 was an eye-opener for them because it wasn't they heard about it. I remember hearing about Bitcoin around 2010, 2011, and I saw it on the television. I thought it was completely ridiculous. So I can only imagine what banks thought when this thing that people, that nerds essentially were trading back and forth on the internet between themselves. Bitcoin hit $1. Wow, that's wonderful. It's never going to, come close to what we have. Bitcoin hits $20, Bitcoin hits $120, Bitcoin hits 1,200, and then slams back down. Everyone in the news is like, this thing is complete crap. Why would anyone use this? It disappears. Couple of years, no one hears about it. All of a sudden, this thing reappears on the news. It hit $10,000 and then $20,000, and this is when everyone kind of opened their eyes. And I think that they thought that it was going to die, disappear. This is why we have that website where they talk about the Bitcoin obituaries and how Bitcoin has died hundreds and hundreds and multitudes of times, because everyone thinks that it's going to go away. There is nothing in my mind outside of a ban by the European Union or the United States government that tells me that cryptocurrencies are going to go anywhere. It's fairly certain that they're not. It's fairly certain that there's not going to be a ban. It's fairly certain at this point, at least to me, that the only real thing that they're going to be able to do and clamp down on heavily is anything that has to do with KYC, anti-money laundering. It's going to have to do with cryptocurrency exchanges and or ICOs that are still trying to be around for some reason, and or STOs. But the fact that we have Backed coming out, and I cannot stress this enough, the fact that we've had, what is it? What are the two companies? I can't remember. I keep thinking of Starbucks. Maybe it's because I'm thirsty. And I can't. Is it Microsoft? The other one who's like a member of Backed, who's going to try and integrate cryptocurrencies to be able to use as a payment method on them. We also got Tesla. You better believe behind the scenes there are an enormous amount of companies who are coming forward, who are trying to be part of this because it's backed by the New York Stock Exchange, and therefore there's a lot of money to be made. And the fact that we're even hearing from, Twitter is large, is global, is huge, but it's not really like a place for you to buy stuff per se, what have you. When we get official names of the exact companies who are into Backed and what they're going to be trying to do and how they're going to be integrating cryptocurrencies into their platforms as a payment method, crypto is going to do very, very well. It may not happen this year. It's probably going to happen next year. I dare not say it's going to happen this year. I try not to get my hopes up or your hopes up. The point is, crypto is going to be large. We've had, and this is my opinion, we've had far too many very rich tech people. That's kind of the nicest way of saying it, who are deeper into the space even than I am, than you are, than many of the other crypto YouTubers are, who understand the money that's flowing back and forth, who have billions themselves, who are friends with all these people who are putting money into the market. They have all come forward collectively at some time or another, and they've all said crypto is going to completely take over, or they've all said that Bitcoin is going to be a global currency within the next couple of years. I don't think it's going to take 10 years. I'd shudder to even think 8 years. I think within the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to have a very clear indication of exactly the coins that are going to make it and exactly how they're going to be used. At least the things that people end up coming up with in their head, as far as like the things, to be able to, use cases, air quotes, because the idea is that in 1995, when the internet was relatively kind of out there, dial-up, 2000.com bubble, around 2002, 2003, 2004, when the iPhone finally launched, none of us could have seen a YouTube. None of us saw an Instagram, a Facebook, any of these things kind of developing. So eventually these things will develop. The point is, I think by the time we get to that point, we're going to have over $1 million Bitcoin, and my opinion, and it'll be something that'll just be used. Like, we'll be completely used to it at that point. I think a lot of people will maybe still be getting used to it, but the amount of things that are being launched behind the scenes to be able to get people in in poorer countries to be able to actually use cryptocurrencies and buy cryptocurrencies and trade cryptocurrencies and transact in cryptocurrencies without the internet are massive. This is not going anywhere outside of, like I said, a ban from some of the largest financial entities in the entire world. That's not going to happen because probably at this point, they probably also have their hands in the cookie jar. They are probably also betting on its future. But I feel like as a major bank or a Federal Reserve, you have to kind of say things like this because, especially keeping the phrasing here, only its long-term perspectives could include significant use, not in the near or medium term. Crypto is going to take over the world. It's just a matter of time. And yeah, let's move on from that. And next up, Nasdaq plans to add 2 cryptocurrency indexes, the Bitcoin Liquid Index, or the BLIX, and the Ethereum Liquid Index, or the ELX, to its more than 40,000 indexes made in collaboration with crypto data company Brave New Coin. They will be available on the 25th of February, showing users real-time information tied to the cryptocurrency market. The proposed indexes will act as a single price point for Bitcoin and Ethereum, with users receiving real-time messages on prices to assist in trading decisions. According to the statement, they said, and I do quote, effective Monday, February 25th, 2019, Nasdaq, through its data dissemination relationship with Brave New Coin, will send real-time Bitcoin and Ethereum index level information on the Nasdaq Global Index Data Service, or GIDS, because why not? Nasdaq said the Bitcoin Liquid Index and the Ethereum Liquid Index are each designed to provide a real-time spot or reference price for the price of 1 Bitcoin and 1 Ethereum respectively, quoted in US dollars and based on the most liquid ends of their markets. Both indices are calculated using a methodology that has been independently audited against key IOSCO principles. The BLX is one of the most widely referenced BTC indices among crypto traders and has been calculated back to 2010. Likewise, the ELX has been calculated back to 2014. When I talk about this cryptocurrency space isn't going anywhere, it's because of things like this. And I'm going to hammer it into everyone's head, even if you heard me say this before. Why would an institution like the Nasdaq or the New York Stock Exchange, who essentially control the financial world, you've heard those things on the news where these people they make like $2 billion in bonuses, and they make all they run the world essentially. I dare not say it out loud, but we know that money makes the world go round, and they have the money. These people are adding indexes for the prices of Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're also, I think Nasdaq is creating their own cryptocurrency exchange. Where do you all think this is leading up to? Do you think that Bitcoin is going to fall down to $1,000 and it's going to stay there? Or do you think that Bitcoin is going to become a world currency? Because we've had the CEO of the Nasdaq and also of the New York Stock Exchange announce before that they both think that Bitcoin is going to become a world currency. Why in the world would these two people say something as crazy as that unless they already held a huge amount of Bitcoin themselves and potentially Ethereum and probably all of their friends? And I mean, they know where it's going, and this is why you have to follow the breadcrumbs. It's not even like breadcrumbs, like they're like complete loaves of bread sitting in front of you, and you just kind of have to pick them up and follow it. Crypto's not going anywhere. I am destructively excited for the future of cryptocurrencies because news like this just, I'm already bullish on like a long-term basis, but this just revs up my engine every single time I hear stuff like this. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, I don't know if you heard that in the background, that they're still doing construction. They've been renovating for like 9 weeks now. That better be the most beautiful looking place in the entire world when they're done with it. Next, so 2 entities tasked with developing the NEM ecosystem have come up with different but complementary programs to expand the adoption of the network and the NEM digital asset. NEM has become yet another project at a crossroads as the pressures of the bear market curbed its growth potential. Additionally, the platform is getting less attention after the slowdown in ICOs, with distributed apps, smart contracts, and tokens more often utilizing other technologies. For this reason, both NEM Labs, a development group based in Europe, and NEM Foundation, the entity responsible for popularization and adoption, have come up with plans for funding and ensuring the future of NEM. The two groups have also released a joint statement regarding the prospects of the project. The drive for a renewed roadmap and wider adoption comes a few weeks after the NEM Foundation announced layoffs caused by a loss of value in the entire digital asset market, but most notably in ZEM. ZEM appreciated rapidly in the boom days, but then went on in decline. The asset has lost 98% of its value and is down 93% year on year. Given the current state of the asset and persistently low adoption of the network, the NEM Foundation announced it might resort to closing if conditions worsen. The foundation will use all remaining funds to pay off liabilities, that's debt, and very likely to proceed to close the foundation as a worst-case scenario. The community will have to self-organize on the management of social media, partnerships, commercialization, and sustainability of the NEM blockchain technology, which is what we want to avoid. The NEM project will strive to preserve its partnerships as well as keep enough developers on board to complete the catapult upgrade and popularize the asset. This is happening over and over. I think we even had news from the NEM people like about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, where it was kind of like a maybe we will, maybe we won't type of thing. Pay attention to where you have your money. Pay attention to what cryptocurrencies you have your money in. Pay more attention if you are here for the money and you are trying to make money. The best advice I could give you is to pay attention to the cryptocurrencies that are constantly being spoken about by the New York Stock Exchange, by the Nasdaq, and yeah, that's kind of the nicest way of saying it. Remember we had last year that a lot of cryptocurrency projects are going to die, and I told you there was going to be a backwards effect in the market. The smallest and least used coins, whether they could be the greatest coins in the entire world, if they're not being used, if they don't have an actual use case because they're just a mimic of some other coin, they're going to start collapsing. We had the news a couple of weeks ago that over a couple thousand, like 1,000 and some change rather, cryptocurrency projects are either dead, their developers have left, cash grabs, down about 99.9% in value. No one's using them. No one's going to be using them. While certain coins may seem appealing because they have very low prices, don't fall into the trap of putting your money into something simply because you see that the price is very low. When I've mentioned coins before in the past that I've seen as very, very low, they're still in the news at least twice a week. And for reference, those are Cardano and EOS. They're still in the news, and there's no news about them losing funding, about them having layoffs, about them letting people go, about them needing... I'm not sure if it was NEM or the other cryptocurrency project where they announced that they were going to try and get people from their community to fund them. You don't hear any news about that from Cardano or EOS, and this is why I still stick with them. Just pay attention to where you have your money. I see a lot of people trying to push coins in the comment section that have no future. None. Zero. I won't name them. You should pretty much know at this point what they are. Until you hear Galaxy Digital, Fidelity, Bloomberg, Nasdaq, or the New York Stock Exchange, and I guess even to another extent the Swiss and German Stock Exchange talk about that they're going to be adding certain coins, focus very diligently on a set number of coins, because these are going to be the coins that are still going to be around in 10 years, and a number of other ones will not be. Next up, sorry, my goodness. Status. The Ethereum messaging app and mobile browsing startup has relaunched their cryptocurrency hardware wallet under a new name. They call it the Key Card. This is not paid advertising, by the way. I just thought this was kind of cool. Developed entirely open source, the wallet will first be distributed to interested blockchain developers for free and later sold directly from Status's website at $29 a piece. I'll get back to that in 1 second. The hardware, as highlighted by the CTO of Status, Guy Louis Grau, is the exact same shape as the Visa card you have in your wallet today. He said, Key Card is contactless. It's going to work with your mobile crypto wallet. You just need to tap your key card on a mobile device to sign transactions. Functionally speaking, it's really a hardware wallet, but it works with mobile. According to the firm, the Status Key Card is compatible with several cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, XRP, Ether, and all Ethereum-based ERC20 tokens. The first batch of key cards is expected to arrive in the mail to interested parties by early March. But according to Grau, they won't be user-facing initially. Anyway, the point of this is, I like news like this. I think stuff like this is very cool, and I think it is probably one of the most intelligent ways that we're going to get cryptocurrency into the mainstream. I definitely don't agree with the $29 a piece, especially because the way that technology works is that probably by the end of this year, we're going to have another company who ends up making something just like this, and they're probably going to announce it is only going to cost around $9.99, and then they'll have to lower their price. Competition, what have you. What I find interesting about these things is that for a very long time, it was believed that in the cryptocurrency space, we would need to, if you've never sent a cryptocurrency transaction before, it's not the easiest, it's not the most streamlined. When, and this ties exactly to what I was talking, it just popped into my head, exactly what I was talking about yesterday, where banks are going to start offering their own crypto cards. It's going to be something just like this. As far as I don't know exactly if it's in every single country at this point, but you have something, as opposed to being able to have to swipe your card or insert your card like into the actual machine, but to put in your PIN number. A lot of the things now are like contactless. We kind of just tap your card and it says like payment made, so-and-so, so you kind of walk off into the sunset. These are going to become very big. And when this goes completely mainstream and everyone has something like this and we can connect our cryptocurrency in, or rather put it into the card, have it connected to the card, and we can just kind of tap and pay, this is what's going to make crypto payments extremely mainstream. I assume that behind the scenes, the NYSE and the Nasdaq and Fidelity are probably looking for ways, or they're probably even financing startups who are making things like this, because that's going to be the future. No one's going to take out their phone, scan a QR code, have that QR code have to have the confirmation that you sent it. It's too long of a process. Tapping to pay is going to be the future for cryptocurrency payments. Cannot wait for it. Just not at $29 a piece. Yeah. To kind of finish things off, the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, or the EEA, is boarding the tokenization train. The 385-member standards body plans to form a token task force this year. Executive Director Ron Resnick told CoinDesk. The group will work on a specification for tokens that runs on top of Ethereum and private blockchains based on it with business users in mind. Notably, the task force would do this not only for assets whose units are interchangeable with one another, such as shares in a corporation or blockchain representation of fiat currency, but also for individual tokens with unique properties, with CryptoKitties being the most famous example, although a more plausible business application would be digital certificates for diamonds. They said, "We are creating a token task force. We will do that first half of this year. It's going to be focused on support for fungible ERC20 and non-fungible ERC721 tokens. Tokenization generally refers to the creation of a tradable asset on a blockchain, separate from its native currency, Ether in the case of Ethereum. Crafting a business-grade spec for this process could ease corporate adoption of the technology, whose main use case to date has been fundraising by startups, often in a legally dubious manner." The point of all of this is working kind of, I guess, backwards, or even just in general. For those who have no idea what the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance is, whatever you kind of say it, they used to have a much cooler website. Now they just have the names. They used to have like the actual icons of the companies. This is it. These are pretty much all the companies. I'll try and go slow-ish so you can kind of read some of the names. These are all the companies who have announced that they are going to be using the Ethereum blockchain, and they have bound themselves together in an alliance. And they are essentially going to be using the Ethereum blockchain for their businesses, to send coins back and forth, to send transactions back and forth, to create their own coins. I think Microsoft is definitely one of the names on here. Like I said, it was a lot cooler when they had the actual icons of the companies, because you could kind of notice them a lot quicker as opposed to having to read through all the names. But as they have 385 members now, I assume a page with hundreds of little icons probably wasn't very plausible anymore. JP Morgan Chase. The point is, they have constantly renewed or announced their renewal of efforts to build things on top of Ethereum. And this is, when I talk about that Ethereum is slow, Ethereum's laggy, Ethereum's taking a very long time for them to be able to make their own, or rather to have their updates and stuff like that, my brain can push all of that aside because of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. They are a very strong, very rich group of people who have announced, and first of all, announced that they are going to be using the Ethereum blockchain, which is incredibly significant when you have Microsoft and JP Morgan Chase and 382 other companies all announcing this. And also, for those who weren't here in 2018, we had a couple of countries, Russia being one of them, announcing that they were going to build on top of Ethereum as well. This leads me to believe Ethereum's probably not going anywhere anytime soon. It's just, I think, that there's maybe a bit of turmoil happening behind the scenes because we're supposed to have had a couple of upgrades. Constantinople, Plasma, and Casper was supposed to have already all been activated at the end of 2018. And this is why I think the number of members continues to grow for the Alliance, because when Ethereum is able to handle 1 million transactions per second, I don't know if we're ever going to have a flippening, as it were, where Ethereum ends up flipping Bitcoin. I would be interested in seeing that. I'm pretty sure a lot of other people would. I like to see the competition moving forward. Anyway, prices are doing pretty okay. Not too bad. Trending sideways, like always, except for this little jump up right there, but negligible because prices still haven't really changed that much. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all are having a great day, a great morning. I don't think it's Friday. Is it Thursday? I think it's Thursday. Happy Thursday to everyone. I never know what days it actually is. I roll out of bed, I start making a video, and this is where I am in my life. Hope you all have a great day, morning, afternoon, and or evening, wherever you are. Wherever you might be, I hope it's fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and listening. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. They are Vlad the Impaler, Gil Boa Snake, Rai, Brady Niels, L. Doug, Arthur Yaku, Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Nick Mangialavori, Travis Haynes, Gordon Nikic, Yasha Harari, Anthony Charles, and Nick Kanaya. Thank you all very much for your generosity. I do appreciate it. And yeah, I'll talk to you all soon. See you.